In the heart of an ancient and forgotten town, cloaked in the shadows of towering, gnarled trees, lay the stunning Garden of Death. This hidden, otherworldly place, whispered about in hushed tones by the few who dared acknowledge its existence, was a paradox of beauty and terror. Its legend, steeped in horror and mystery, was about to unravel through the eyes of Eleanor, a young botanist with an insatiable curiosity for the forbidden and the unknown. Eleanor had stumbled upon the legend of the garden in a tattered journal she found buried in the archives of her university's library. The journal, written in a frantic yet elegant hand, spoke of a garden where the most beautiful flowers bloomed under the light of a crimson moon, their petals shimmering like jewels. But these were no ordinary flowers. They were said to be the final resting place of lost souls, their essence trapped within the very fibers of the plants, giving life to their ethereal beauty. The garden's location was a closely guarded secret, lost to time and fear. Yet, driven by a blend of academic intrigue and a deeper, inexplicable pull, Eleanor set out to uncover it. Her journey led her through forgotten pathways and overgrown trails deep into the heart of the woods that bordered her town. As night fell, a crimson moon rose, bathing the world in an eerie, blood-red light, guiding her to her destination. Upon entering the Garden of Death, Eleanor was struck by an overwhelming sense of otherworldliness. The air was thick with a sweet, cloying scent, and the ground beneath her feet felt unnaturally soft, as if she were walking on a carpet of moss and decay. The garden was a labyrinth of exotic, unknown flora, each specimen more bizarre and mesmerizing than the last. Flowers with petals as black as the night sky bloomed alongside vines that seemed to pulse with a life of their own, and in the center, a large, weeping willow stood sentinel, its branches swaying gently in a non-existent breeze. But it was the roses that caught Eleanor's eye. They were unlike any she had ever seen, their petals a deep, blood-red, glistening with what appeared to be morning dew, but upon closer inspection was something far more sinister. Each rose seemed to pulsate with a faint, ethereal glow, and as Eleanor reached out to touch one, a voice whispered in her ear, chilling her to the bone. "Welcome, Eleanor." The voice was melodic yet filled with a sorrow that pierced her very soul. Turning, Eleanor saw a figure emerging from the shadows of the willow. It was a woman, ethereal in her beauty, with flowing white robes that seemed to blend into the fog that crept along the garden floor. Her eyes, a deep shade of violet, held a depth of sadness and knowledge that belied her youthful appearance. "I am the keeper of the garden," the woman spoke, her voice echoing around the clearing. "This is a place of beauty and sorrow, where the souls of the departed merge with the earth, giving life to these blooms. Each flower here represents a life once lived, a story once told." Eleanor, entranced by the woman's presence, found herself drawn into the tales of the souls trapped within the garden. She learned of a young soldier who fell in battle, his spirit now residing in the proud stance of the crimson roses. A lost child's laughter echoed in the tinkling of silver bells that hung from a nearby tree. Each plant, each bloom, held a fragment of a life, their stories eternally etched into the very essence of the garden. But as the night wore on, a sense of unease began to settle over Eleanor. She realized that this place, for all its haunting beauty, was a prison for the souls that resided within. The keeper, sensing her thoughts, nodded solemnly. "Yes, this is their sanctuary, but also their eternal cage. The souls here cannot move on, trapped by the very beauty that sustains them." Eleanor felt a surge of determination. She knew she had to free these souls, to break the spell that bound them to this cursed place. As she voiced her intention, the garden seemed to stir, the air growing heavy with the whispers of 1,000 voices, pleading for release. The keeper, a look of profound sadness in her eyes, handed Eleanor a small, silver dagger. "This is the key to their liberation," she said. "But know this, the act of freeing a soul comes with a price. You must take their place, their stories becoming your own, their essence merging with the garden." Eleanor hesitated, the weight of the decision bearing down on her. To free these souls would mean sacrificing her own life, becoming a part of the garden forever. Yet, as she looked around at the faces of the trapped spirits, their eyes filled with hope and gratitude, she knew what she had to do. With a deep breath, Eleanor took the dagger and began the ritual. As she cut into the heart of each flower, a soft light emerged, rising into the sky like a wisp of smoke. The voices of the freed souls whispered their thanks as they ascended, their stories now released into the ether. As the last soul was freed, the garden began to wither, its vibrant colors fading into shades of gray. The keeper, now a mere wisp of mist, smiled at Eleanor, her form dissipating into the night. Eleanor felt a sense of peace wash over her as she lay down among the dying blooms, her body slowly merging with the earth. As dawn broke, the Garden of Death was no more, its once stunning beauty now just a memory. But in its place stood a single, vibrant rose, its petals the deepest shade of red, a testament to the sacrifice and bravery of Eleanor, the last keeper of the garden.